Hi guys, this is Sydney. So as you can see, I'm outside and there may be some noise, so please be aware. Um, right now, I was feeling pulled to be on camera to share some Ascension messages, which, okay, my spirit team's coming on. The word significance is coming through. For those of you who are going to connect and resonate with this message, especially the 144,000 light workers, however you resonate with these terms, you don't. If you're drawn to the messages subconsciously, may be for you. So take however resonates and leave what doesn't. So for the last 2-3 days, I start to receive a lot of messages that were like wrapping things up, in a sense, consolidating. That has to do with the next 4 years of the Ascension journey for humanity and for Gaia. So basically, ever since I was in Brazil, I started to receive the word Negro, which means black, or Negro, or like all sorts of like these words in different languages, very, very frequently. And at the time, I wasn't sure what that was about. You know, that's usually how it shows up. Sometimes these clues or these messages come to me or sent, with my spirit team and Source and Gaia. They're sending me these like a couple of years or even years prior, and when it's time or it's divine time for me to consolidate, for me to share for the collective, I start to remember these little clues or these messages they left me, or synchronicities. And I immediately catch the message in that moment. It's like a puzzle pieces that fits into a puzzle. So that was about the year that we will be having for the 2026. And then when I arrived here, I started to receive the message, amarillo, amarillo, everywhere I went. I just start to hear people talking about amarillo, which means yellow. And then the energy of the diamond has been coming through for the past 2 years consistently. And I now understand the significance of that in regards to the Ascension journey we are about to step into. So the diamonds came as the rosa or the rojo, whatever that is for you. In Spanish, red means rojo, or it's like more related to tierra, meaning like earth. Fuego de tierra is what is coming for me to share at this time, which also came as a message. The rosa energy. And in Peru, what I tapped into, like all the foods that I eat, all the ingredients that I buy, so basically everywhere I go, whenever I consume their fruits or vegetables from that particular land, I connect to the energy of that land through food, or the fruit through the ingredients. And the energy of tierra, meaning the earth here, has a lot of rosa in it. In Peru, that's what I'm sensing or tapping into. And that earth energy, and some of you may be aware, like Pachamama, that's like the Mother Earth. This energy is so very strong. So energy of earth that is fertile, but it goes like so far into the ground, like to the deepest level of the earth, that is like close to the core, is what is coming for me to share. So that's why the ingredients here taste so different. It is so much richer. So one of the things was I was so surprised to have mango here. I didn't expect mango to taste so rich. It's one of the richest mangoes that I've tasted in comparison to like Thailand or Philippines. Here, I've never expected it because it's not well like commercialized. It's more of the Southeast mangoes, East Asian mangoes were like, so there are a lot of things that we've been conditioned or programmed with images and commercialization for like advertisement and stuff like that. But that's why the culinary culture is very much developed here, because there could be other aspects, like a lot of mixed cultures that influence that development, but also at the same time, when I tapped into it, the ingredients here, just by the energy is so different. Even like the oranges taste different. And it was interesting. I don't know why they have me talk about this, but I will just go ahead. Like when I was in Brazil, there were a lot of fruits and vegetables that were, the seed had been contaminated. So even though they said it's organic, the fruit is way larger. So they kind of mutated the seed, the original seed. And I was actually expecting mango or other fruits to taste really good, but it wasn't. And coming here, basically every fruit, so depending on which country I was in, some fruits were better, like in taste, in terms of like, you know, like energies and how balanced it is. Here, basically, all the fruits taste like in average, like super good. And there are a lot of crops from the Andes or the Cusco area where the Machu Picchu is. So that area, that Machu Picchu or the Cusco area, the energy there is incredible when I tapped into it. So it's been very interesting. So for some reason they have me tap into this, and the Machu Picchu and Lake Titicaca came through immediately when I got here and came up consistently. And that was relating to the energies that we are about to work with the next 4 years. So basically Amarillo and the Rosa, and then also I was drawn to the energy of white very much just before coming here. And so what I got was, it's going to be the negro, blanco, amarillo, and rosa, or rojo. And 2 nights ago, I woke up like really super early in the morning, which is like not common at all. And then I feel like I didn't want to go back to sleep. And I just sat, and then all this like messages start to come through, and then I feel like I wanted to look into all this energy of the coming years in what is it called, in like so-called Chinese reading. which as a Korean person, like in this lifetime, and even before, like I had that major initiation in 2018, I was always interested in like these kind of stuff, and I would study them like kind of like as a hobby, not like seriously. And I'm not like a professional reader, but what I was doing was I was tapping into them intuitively because I already knew what they were. Already had all this knowledge on a soul level, so I was doing this to remember and so that I could tap into it intuitively for like what I'm doing right now. So now I understand. Back then I had no idea, but I was like really drawn to reading like people's charts or like people like celebrities charts and stuff like that. And so basically next year, which is the year 2026, which adds up to number 1, which represents new beginning, like the starting point, is a year of the horse. But when you look at these charts, it's the fiery horse. So there are like 5 different elements in Chinese reading. Earth, fire, water, wood, metal. And when I compare them to like the basic elements in Western astrology, the fire energy is a combination of the air elements in the Western astrology. That's just from my own studying or like intuitive knowing. So there's the yang energy and the yin energy that separates. And next year is going to be yang fire, and then horse represents also the yang fire, which is both masculine energies. And it has a very, what the word that is coming is combustion. So it's like this. We don't see the air, right? But we know that it exists because when it doesn't or it gets depleted, we die. And like on a gas stove, that's the same. We don't see the gas coming out, but even if there's a tiniest little bit of gas, you have a stick of fire from the match, and then when these two combine, there's a combustion happening. That gas turns into fire, basically, like in a literal sense, right? You see, and it becomes very visible to the eye. And we don't realize that there's gas with fire, but we tend to believe that there's only fire, but actually there are 2 elements. It's not just one. So the integration of 2 dualities or polar opposites has been coming to the forefront as a highlighting message that we've been working very diligently. And especially the year 2025, starting from like around fall equinox is what is coming up in 2024. We've been working heavily to integrate the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies within ourselves, which is the 2 polar opposites that represents the very duality that we are experimenting with on Earth at this time. So we've been healing the divine masculine that was wounded. We've been healing the divine feminine that was wounded, and now they came. They're coming into one. Conjoining is the word that is coming, because the energy of the new earth will be founded, meaning the fundamental energy, the foundational energy will be the oneness. So that's why the energy of the oneness has been very much highlighted. And that was the big message with the Neptune I received in March 2023 when I activated my light language and then connecting my energy to that of Gaia for these like timelines. So another message that came was the 6 pointed stars, south, north, east, west, and then the cross area like southwest and northeast. So they represent 6 or 2 sets of polar opposite elements. That is the moon and the Saturn, the Venus and Mars, and Jupiter and what was it? Something else. Jupiter and Moon. So no, Jupiter, not Moon. Jupiter. So okay, Jupiter and Mercury. So like these elements come together as one in the middle in unifying force. So the very much the energy of the balance, the integration has been the big theme in the last 2 months, based on all these things that we've been working towards. So what I got was we first needed to activate the alchemist in order to create the new earth, or in order to rebuild or build the new earth, or go into the new golden age. And so message of golden has been coming through ever since when was it? Like 2024, very heavily, especially from summertime leading towards fall 2024. The golden. So activating the golden. So embodying the golden, meaning a lot of individuals, especially 144,000 light workers, have been working diligently to release karma, heal old wounds, whatever that means for you, right? So that we embody the golden aura. We have golden aura in our auric field. That's not visible to these 2 eyes, but it's something that's embodied if you resonate. So that's where all this like idea of golden, all these songs that's coming up in the pop scene, where this like recent like animation like song, The Golden. Some artists were channeling this. So we needed to embody the golden aura in order to attain a level of sovereignty, meaning and that level of sovereignty will be able to be attained when a person or soul integrates a certain level of divine masculine and divine feminine within. And at this time, like reaching the 100% level, like the perfect integration is not possible, is what is coming for me. So there are different levels that we're reaching for or targeting, is what Gaia and Source want me to share with the collectives or the individuals who's going to resonate and need this message. So unknowingly, perhaps you've been working towards embodying this golden aura, and this golden aura is not given just to anybody. You have had to go through a lot of the purification process, meaning purifying your soul, which has been a big message that came since 2024. Even earlier than that, later 2023, I was guided to connect with all these like mountain tops that's covered with snow. This like purified energies, high vibrational energies, like Himalayas and Mount Fuji and all those like Alps in Europe, like the German side, the Italian side, and the what is it, the Switzerland, Austria, all those like energies. Matterhorn especially was coming through very strongly, like about now, like about 2 years ago. Nepal area, all those areas. And now, ever since I arrived here, the energy of Machu Picchu has been coming on so strong, like extremely strong. So these are very much the important portal, and the what is it, the crystal, the Redeemer that I went to, that I was guided to go to on a particular day when I was in Rio. That was to also activate the energy and bring that. And then for my job was, my mission at the time was to spread it out for the portal for Machu Picchu is what is coming, because we needed to open up the Christ consciousness even further for Rose lineage to be awakened or further awakened, or crack open their heart further. I mentioned cracking open the heart further because at this time, no one on earth has fully cracked open the heart 100%. No one, it's not possible is what is coming for me. So there are different levels and percentages. And so we are just cracking it open further and more, and however it is for you. Expansion, however that word means for you. So that's what's been happening. And these energies needed to be added to the Andean. The Andean. When I first arrived here, they had me connect with all these energies of Andes or Andean tribes by having me go to all this like ornament stores and where I can connect with the symbols or the prints or the statues or drawings. And the message of giants have been coming through ever since I got here. Giants. That was the energy of this the Peruvian land, where there's like huge drawing. I don't know what the name was, but that's huge drawing on land. That was clearly not done by humans, but it was done by the extraterrestrial. And for centuries, there were descendants of the giants were living here, where like these like humanoids is what it's called, humanoids they were carrying these old genes, where like they were, I don't know, 2 times, 3 times taller than normal average size human. So that energy has been coming through ever since I landed in Peru. And that was connecting to the message that is going to happen years and years and years and after, that the earth is going to be the place for all the hybrids. So the hybrids, was it like, I don't know if it's the name was the Elohim, but it's not like the Elohim as in like archangels or seraphim, Seraphiel energies, the angelic realm, but more of the hybrids that were created with the Syrians, the Lyrans. So all this like Procyon, Alcyon, Sirius B, Lyra, they have been coming through because we are all connected. Like humans, or basically the the word that is coming is like, we are also like kind of in a way hybrid as well, but like in a sense that it's all mixed. There are like Syrian DNAs and Palladian DNA and all of that stuff. So that's why all these other planets or stars are very much in help of the children, basically, like their children, because we carry their genes. We are their children, or the humans are their children. And also the hybrids were, these hybrid group, they were kind of called giants or something like that, like 3 meters tall or something like that, very elongated face. And but they're not like, they are the hybrids, another hybrid species that's based, that carries the energy signature, the fundamental energy signature of oneness. So these species, or these hybrids, will come to Earth, and meaning the level of Earth's frequency that we are working right now to raising is to that level of that oneness for those like that hybrid Elohim or the giants, to be able to live on Earth. So that's like the aim, is what is coming from Source and Gaia at this time for me to share. And for that, we are working for now going through the alchemical process, which has been coming up since like at the beginning of like this year was the Rainbow Bridge, Rainbow Portal, the Purification, and then through the middle, the Alchemy, the alchemical process with the Merlin has been coming through very strongly. And then I got more information that I was able to consolidate. Now it's the Philosopher's Stone, so-called, in Hermetic principles. So the alchemist needed to be ready in order to create a pure matter, or pure physical matter. That is the pure physical reality, which represents the new earth, which represents the higher vibration earth. So the person who's creating or manifesting, building this reality needed to be purified. And as an example, I mentioned a few months ago about these energies in New Delhi, which means new portal, like all this people in India needs also a lot of massive clearing or purification, as there are a lot of lower vibrational energies, especially karmic energies. And the reason being that is a lot of the individuals and starseeds born as or reincarnated as Indian, so-called, at this time, they are very good at engineering, and in order for us to rebuild the new earth or build a new earth, new golden age, we need engineering. Engineers and all these scientists and all these technicians, and they need to purify their energies in order to connect with their soul blueprint, remembering their soul mission, so they can download, for some artists that they're doing right now, who's very conscious and pure intention. And so the energy needed to be purified in India, and New Delhi was a portal that was helping, that all these extraterrestrial groups were coming to support. Especially the angelic realm was very much in support of that purification for certain individuals who perhaps may be ready. So that's all part of the little parts of the bigger picture. For some reason I'm guided to share. So that was the reason why. And on a collective level, individuals who integrated, meaning embodied a certain level of oneness, the energy of peace within their aura or energy body is now, and that was possible as we were opening up our heart energy further with the crystal, the Redeemer, that I connected with, that the portal energy, the Rosa energy, all of that. And now the further heart healing has been taken place so that we were ready for embodying the energy of peace, joy, love, harmony, and balance. And so that at this time we are carrying our ego, basically. And ego is going to be with us. So we need to constantly stay aware to balance our ego, or tame our ego, whatever that means, or integrate our ego. That's where the higher consciousness and conscious awareness plays a key role consistently, is what is coming, so that whenever we are planting a seed, meaning with a seed of intention before creating something, it has to be on a humanity level, meaning it's not for your personal gain, it's not for your personal power or aggrandizement of that power for greed, that idea of that ego control. But we need to go back to the age of sovereignty, or embody the energy of sovereignty, of inner freedom, through the inner transformation. So first, we needed to go through the inner transformation to become a balanced, mature, ready alchemist to go through the alchemical process for the next 4 years is what is coming. What I have been consolidating over the past 3 days. So the alchemical process is that we need to go back to the purification. The negro and the blanco also represents the feminine and the masculine. And that's the yang fire energy next year, which is like big, extreme heat from the sun. That's very potent. That's very inflammable, is what is coming, creating a huge combustion energy. And we need that in order to purify, meaning burn away anything that's in lower vibration in all parts of societies, not just on a mental level, like not just on a individual level, but everything that we build carries that energy of intention. So that's the purpose of that energy. And the year after that, in 2027, the blanco, the year of the blanco, the white, it's more like illuminating, right? After purifying, after clearing, you are able to see better. You're able to see the truth, right? With the illumination. So that year in Chinese, that reading that I tapped into is the year of 정미. In Korean, we say 정미. So next year will be 2026, 병오, 2027, 정미. 정미 means, Jung means yin fire, which is more of the energy of the candlelight. So it represents more of that deep inner truth, wisdom, geared towards that spirituality, that kind of energy. And then Mi represents the energy of the lamb. So that year will have the fire element and the earth element together. So which represents, like illuminating the light onto the earth. So Mi represents like not grassy land, but it's like very wide open land. It's not hilly, but that's just the how the Chinese reading, how that's being viewed. But that's what I've received as a message when I was tapping into it. And then moving to the year of 2028, which is the the Amarillo energy when I first got here is like so these represents like kind of an alchemical process, like transmuting, purifying, and then illuminating. And then Amarillo is like the awareness of things now, like you're better aware after seeing the truth. So you can like basically like on an individual level like discern better. You can detect lies and deception and lower vibrations, negativities better, or immediately, whatever that means for you, like as a way to share how the energy is going to work. So that year will be the highlighting the level of consciousness that we are about to go into. That's going to be much higher than compared to where we are now on a collective level. So that's represented as Amarillo, the yellow. And that year is the Mushin energy. So in Chinese reading, Mushin represents, Mu represents a huge hilly land that is the yang energy, that is a very masculine energy. That is very barren as well. There's not much going on. It's very dry, but it's huge, humongous land. Mushin, Shin represents the energy of the monkey, which is the metal energy, and the metal energy and the earth energy is like a more in a harmonious element in Chinese reading. So there are elements that creates conflict, and there's elements that creates harmony, and these elements are very harmonic elements, so they support each other. And it enriches the earth, the metal energy. So that is the energy of the third stage of the Amarillo, which will be 26, 27, 28, which will be the number in numerology, the year 3. And year 3 represents a lot of expressive energies as well, right? Communication, expression, or integration. In numerology, that is what is coming for me. It's related to the energy of the monkey as well. Monkey is represented as like super smart, high insight, very intellectual, also very witty, very like lots of talents, multi-talented when a person has that aspect. In their chart, like personal reading sense, right? In Chinese reading. So that's like the big monkey energy, and we need those spiritual insight energy that's going to illuminate or further shed higher consciousness or level of awareness to the land, to give more life, to enrich the soil. And going into 2027, 2026, 7, 8, 9, 2029, which will be the year 4. That's the energy of, there was another energy of the metal and earth. I forget which, but it was like the metal energy, but it's not yang energy, but it's more like yin energy. And that yin energy, I think it was the Shinyu. Okay, I just needed to check. It was actually Ki-yu energy. Ki represents the yin earth, and Yu represents the metal energy. Once again, that's chicken, representing chicken. And this Ki-yu energy, especially when you have Yu, that metal energy, the chicken metal energy in your chart, it's supposed to be very refined, high sensitivity. So when a person has that, they can be very sensitive, or a lot of artists have this in their chart. Just to explain, that the energy of Yu, which is the chicken, and Gi energy, which is like a yin energy of the small hilly land. Compared to the Mu, it's like a smaller. But Gi, in a reading sense, when someone has Gi energy, they're very realistic, practical, and it represents like harvesting, a lot of the energy of the harvest. So whatever they tend to do, they tend to reap what they sow. It's like a harvesting energy that they carry. So the person, whatever effort they put into, it's likely they will be able to gather them well and hold it well, like whether it's wealth or money or whatever that is as a result or outcome. So just in a reading like sense, in Chinese reading. So applying that to like the collective Gaia's transformational energy, that is like we view as the outer transformation now through internal transformation. Now we been equipped to create the outer transformation with that much of purified, higher vibrational, higher consciousness level energy. You see that order, right? There's an order, inner and outer. Everything begins with inner. So that's what we've been prepared to do since 2022 is what is coming. 2022, and then 2023, 2024, 2025, and now from 2026, for the next 4 years, we are going to go through the alchemical process for the outer transformation in that sense, representing the physical manifestation. So that year 4 will be the harvesting year of the physical manifestation in the alchemical process, now that all these pure elements that we've been purifying to begin with. So the elements itself, it's like cooking. They want me to explain this in cooking. So the fresher the ingredients, like the organic, from it's a crop from a very rich soil, right? The soil has to also, soil makes a big difference as well. So the soil is good, healthy, rich, and then you plant the pure seed, and going through the proper conditioning, creating the environment that's for the soil to, the crops to grow. Now we've harvested, and with that, whatever that fruit or that vegetables or grains or seeds are that we are consuming, that has a lot of high vibrational energy, right? The nutritional content will be different, even though they say it's the same blueberry that looks the same on the outside, the content of it is different. So that's what we were working towards. So the content is now different. The farmer who's very high conscious, he doesn't use pesticides, he doesn't rush the ground to overwork so that they're depleted of nutrition. They're not going for like fast outcome, you know. Work with the nature cycle and focusing on creating the harmonious environment for these crops or the seeds to grow, right? So now the farmer is working with this purified seed. So it's going to be next year. This elemental tables has been coming through when I got to Peru, when I was incorporating the message of sulfur and mercury representing the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies, the opposing polarities merging, that is represented as the Adam and Eve. Of that is a duality. So now we've been merging, and then with that merge, the energy of pyramid is coming through once again. So the energy of pyramid and Egypt has been coming through from time to time ever since I got here, and that was also representing the, you know, we see the triangle basically, and the top of the triangle, like the merging, integration, another one. that is also represented as a third eye as well. So basically, we've been heavily working with Atlantis energy, the energy of Mu. So basically, the energy of Mu or Lemuria was majorly focusing on internal, like the inner world, the spirituality. So that's, we've been supported with very much with internal transformation. And now the energy of Atlantis has been coming through like as a message, like about a few days ago, all of a sudden Atlantis. And that had to do with embodying that new golden Atlantis energy now that we are to build, which means we need that masculine energy to produce, to provide and protect, that creating energy, using the feminine energy of the creativity of the sacral that we've been healing very much. A lot of these different wounds, right? Codependency wounds and all these like wounds of guilt and shame and all that, right? And so now the energy of water and fire, which I was heavily tapping into and sharing with the collective at the time, that I described as a wave, but on the top of the wave, which I also received in my dream time, as a fire at the edge, the water wave and the fire representing this integration or unionization of these two polar opposites on an individual level. As to get closer to the energy of oneness or the frequency of oneness, to embody that. So basically the large goal at this time for humanity is reaching oneness, embodying oneness. So that's why we were opening up the heart and just walking towards here. I certainly received the message of Mother Mary energy very strongly. So, which represented the energy of forgiveness was coming on big time. So that's basically the energy that we are going to, or the work process that we will work with. But first, everything on earth, when you look at the deep soil or even like crystals, they're minerals, right? They're energies, sulfur, mercury, whatever, like different minerals. So all these energies in the periodic tables, they need to be purified. And that process begins in year 2026. Was what I consolidated based on information that I've been receiving the past, especially 2 years, and then some even 3 years. So that's the process we are heading. And then from what I remember, 2026, 27, 20, 29, 2030 also carries the energy of, I believe, the earth and metal, which is also the purifying energy, but also that last year will be perhaps more solidifying energy. And then the 2031, 2032 completely shifts. It's not in a sequential energies from based on this Chinese reading that I was tapping into like a few months ago, that I felt called to just suddenly look into. So that's coming on for me to share. But at this time, they want us to focus on the 4-year picture, I would say. It's like to share that vision for Gaia, the Gaia's next 4 years of, which is going to be very significant or has a very huge impact for the hybrids. So we are basically creating or transforming the energy of Gaia together for the hybrids, which is interesting because they're like the children of us, but also like the ancestor. We are their ancestor. So we are doing this for our children. And when I just said it, we are doing this for the children. Right now, it's making me very emotional all of a sudden. I don't know what's happening to my heart chakra. Something's coming through. So they're coming through very strongly right now. So we are doing this for the children, not just like human children, like your children, but children in a larger sense, as a universal sense. So we are the whole family, like the universe, and everything is intermingled. Even though your starseed journey perhaps began in Pleiades, but you traveled and you went to different planets, had different experiences, galactic experiences, just like on Earth, it's the same. In this lifetime, I'm experiencing something as Korean, speaking the languages of Korean, but back in the days, I used to be the Persian, right? Or Italian, Greek, German. So, or like Chinese as what is coming. And all these like different ancestry energies and the memories and experiences, we forget, right? We forget coming here. And it's amazing how I lived most of my life in amnesia, completely not remembering anything at all, because I chose to go deep into the darkness, sort of in a way act as a healer for a lot of karmic connections. So that was my purpose. So all my family ties were karmic that I didn't realize. All the friendships were karmic, not because I carried a lot of karma per se, but all at the same time, in a literal sense, I carried karma in this lifetime, or I need to carry karma, but that's not mine, or I don't know how to say it. It's like, okay, they want me to explain this a little bit by sharing my story. So I never ever thought that I was the soul aspect of, the goddess Isis. So that was why I needed to go to Egypt for the 222 portal in 2022, sitting by the pyramid. And even at the time, I didn't know what Isis was. Only thing I remember was I went to the museum, and I remember seeing the picture or the statue of Isis, and I felt drawn to it for some reason. I remember just staring at it, just standing, not knowing what that was about. And then later, that came as a message why I was doing that. And I didn't know about it until March 2023, when they had me connect with two other souls, Baset and Zekmet. They were very much in ego energy at the time. Perhaps they realized, perhaps they don't. I have no idea. But my purpose was to trigger them, to help them wake up further, because they carried a lot of the heavy negative energies, like more human karmic energies. But on a soul level, they're very like pure, which I also had connected to. So it was very interesting. On a soul level, we are just unconditional. But when we come down to this play, playing this role like an actor in a play, we act differently. And I clearly experienced it on a conscious level. So I have that memory now. And so all my life, I was very much moving alone, which was a very lonely journey. I suffered with a lot of sense of loneliness and isolation, not fitting in, even with my family members. So-called like they black sheep, a lot of light workers, starseeds, right, who volunteer for this role. Because basically it's like you have to go through and then trigger them with your light signature. But you don't remember your light because you go into a very deep, dark place. And in order for you to get there, you have to forget so that you embody the shadow. You see what I mean? So I carried a lot of dark energies with me, where I suffer with like unknown sense of like depression and all these feelings and all these like addictive energies, and which was very much painful, but that was part of my soul mission that I chose to for Gaia. So now I understand why I felt like, I didn't really feel like I had friends who I went to elementary school with, and then we grow up and become middle schooler and high school. Like, I had no permanent friends. Like, all these people were just passers-by for a couple of years or several years, and then reconnect after years. And I connected with so many different groups of people, like diverse groups of people, business, in the business world and the like art world, but never like a spiritual community for most of my life in this time for a purpose. And I felt like I could never like settle with someone or have like supportive friendships or prolonged friendship or deep connection, like sincere friendships, because it was all meant to just go by so quickly so that I could reach more people that way as a soul mission and then trigger them. There was some sort of aspect that I was triggering. So that's why I carried a lot of energies of competitiveness, comparison, a lot of energies trying to sabotage my energies that I needed to navigate through, which was not easy, you know. So that was like the journey, basically. And I forgot why I was sharing this, but anyways, they want me to continue with this so that, so we are basically all interrelated or mixed in one way or another. Here, like in everywhere I go, all the native tribes, even like in Korea, we had this pride as like 백의민족, which means like the people of the white, which represents purity, which means like the oneness or the one pure one blood, which means like purely Korean, not a lot of mixed. But nowadays it's different. A lot of mixed marriages and interracial or cultural marriages, right? Also, especially with the modern enslavement, where a lot of we need workers from like so-called developing countries like Africa or India or Southeast Asia. We import people as modern slaves for construction work and tough and harsh like chemical work in the manufacturing industries and stuff like that. So because they have low labor cost. So basically, with all these exchanges, now a lot of kids are mixed, like Russian as well. But everywhere I went, even here in Brazil, in South America that I experienced, Brazil and Peru thus far, the Europeans, the colonists during the colonial era, and all these like different races, the local, tribal, they're all mixed. But they may look white, meaning more like have European features, white European features, but their blood or their DNA carries a lot of other ancestral lines because, you know, when you mix, you go down to, you are like a quarter, let's say quarter white and quarter like other Asian, then you look more Asian than white. Or for example, I'm just, European, I would say, or whatever, like all these languages that we use at this time. And same goes with like so-called African Americans or black people, like mixed with Native Americans, or there could be some Asian mixes. You don't know after a few generations, even like just 2 generations down. So what we see is just through the 2 eyes, the visible eye, but we need to understand the higher consciousnesses that we are all related and mixed, and we go through all these soul experiences and journeys, like just in amnesia. And some light workers or starseeds, they carry more challenging or difficult missions because you go into more difficult situations in life because you carry more light in your soul signature. That's why you chose to do that on a soul level. But the thing is, when we come down to play at this actor role, we forget, right? So, okay, I hope I'm sharing this so that someone can relate, so that it can help heal them, right? And these energies all related to other lifetimes. Okay, so they want me to continue with the Cleopatra timeline that I didn't know why I was in Greece, and I worked heavily with the sacral energy that was really, really painful on a physical level as well. Later it turned out, early 2025, I was tapping into the Akash all of a sudden, not like me trying to, but it just happened because in divine timing, they wanted me to have that information and remembrance. I remember the moment of my death in Cleopatra timeline and what I was thinking, and just like past life regression, you remember the moment you die, and then you remember exactly, like vividly, the emotions that you went through and the thoughts that you were having, as if you are in that. But I didn't go through like the hypnosis, but I was, like just conscious, opening my eyes. But that's how it happens for me, through crown chakra. So it's like I now understand. So they also want me to share like this, a little bit of my soul journey, that basically I start to remember when I heard the word M31 in March 2023, something happened. And I start to remember. It's like something clicked, M31. So that was where I was just before being actively involved with Gaia's Ascension. Or Gaia's this work or transformation, or to help Gaia. So it was more like an angelic being from what I remember, more like overseeing or helping from the outside. And in order for me to reincarnate on earth, I need to have karma. I need to carry karma. At the time, all of a sudden, like at the beginning of March, at the beginning of 2023, all of a sudden I start to have this question. Do I carry galactic karma? Because a lot of starseeds also carry not just human, like earth karma, but also they tend to have galactic karma that they are here to clear as well. So I got curious suddenly that do I have galactic karma that I need to clear as well? And then it turned out everything was cleared. And then it gave me a relief that I could only focus on this, like the karma on earth. And then like 2 years later now, in 2025, I suddenly was able to connect the dots in hindsight, right? That the reason I chose to like reincarnate, I don't know if it's the word that applies to Isis, but it's because it was an archetype, it was not like a physical being, it was an energetic form. But that was my way for me to accrue karma so I could come down and reincarnate on a physical level. So basically a lot of people worshipped Isis at the time. One of the memories that I started to have was all of a sudden I started to remember like my crown chakra went wild and I was tapping into the Akash while I was talking to someone, and then I just started to cry because I started to tap into all these energies and people's energies that was very, very dark and spooky, that was sacrificed to worship Isis, which I had no knowledge in this lifetime or memory or remembrance, that a lot of humans were, I don't know whether there were starseeds or not, but these humans were sacrificed by buried alive in a cast. And then even though it was so clear at the time, I was like, when I went back to my, not in that Akash state, but is it really true? Like, did that really happen? So I was trying to like Google it, but nothing showed up. And usually when that happens, I know that it's not the divine timing for me to have that information, which happened very since 2018. That's how I was working with my spirit team. And so I just let it go. And then all of a sudden it came back. And while I was like falling asleep, and then I opened my eyes and I turned on my phone, immediately like this conversation on YouTube popped up. And then they were talking about, they were starseeds, and they were talking about how she did the past life regression, and she remembered that she was buried alive, being sacrificed to worship Isis, goddess Isis. And that was like the way for my spirit team to like give me confirmation that I was Isis. But still, it was very hard to believe because I had no idea like about that and the history behind it or Egyptology. Like I had no knowledge of whatsoever on purpose. So that's how I accrued like a lot of ego energy, karma, and that was the soul experience that I needed to go through, and then slowly work through my way, and then I was able to carry enough karmic energies to reincarnate on a physical level to come down here to work with Gaia on a specific mission. And all these different lifetimes was connected to what I'm doing right now. And all the karma that I accrued during those times was on purpose. So it wasn't like a punishment or like in that sense, but it was like on purpose. It was like so purposeful. So even like the Cleopatra timeline, in that timeline, I had a lot of codependency issues and carried a lot of guilt when I died. The fear of failure because that the project or the mission that I had, that was for the golden age right now. It wasn't able to be successful, of course, due to the Gaia's energy back then, right? But it was all designed on purpose, so I could use that experience, information, and knowledge, and a level of mastery that I gained as a human reincarnated at the time to bring that to this timeline. So everything was delicately designed. So they want me to highlight this, that we are now at a level that we are to remember our soul mission, your soul blueprint, your soul purpose, however it is that is unique to everyone. And still there are a lot of comparison energies, right? Where a lot of jealousies and envies, and due to comparing, that was the duality experience, right? It's very heavy still. And if you're a light worker or individuals that resonate, if you have a lot of light in your soul signature, you're meant to trigger those people around you wherever you go so that it helps them to go in. But it's their choice later on, right? Whether they will go in due to their trigger or they will continue to play out the way they used to. Directing that energy towards the outside so that they avoid looking in, right? Because this ascension journey that they want me to mention is very much individual. So that's why at this time, we've been connecting especially since 2022, 2023, very heavy from 2023, 2024, 2025. We start to get prepared to ascend on an individual level. So meaning disconnecting from your blood family, for example, if they were all karmic and they chose not to grow and evolve. If they continue to repeat the same cycles, your energy no longer in match. So something happens and you're separating yourself on a physical level. You leave your job, social groups, or your friend groups, or friend circles that you used to call best friends or co-circles, suddenly you felt called to isolate yourself and eventually disconnect. It could be any kind, right? Friend, family, lover, marriage, however it is, relatives, even like with your children as well. If they're grown up to a certain level, it's all meant to happen and it's meant for a reason. And when that happens, you have to go through a lot of grieving process, and there's going to be a period of isolation that's a must, because in order for you to go internally, you need to isolate yourself. That's, in spiritual community, they call it like the hermit mode or something like that, right? So it's all a necessary process, and there will be a lot of times where you will suffer with a sense of loneliness. And that's just a process of helping you to remember who you are, that you're never lonely, you're never alone. Because even though it's just like the gas or the air, it's invisible to your two eyes, but your whole galactic family, galactic team, spirit team is with you all the time, has been with you, guiding with you, working with you, just on a different, unique level, right? So that's what you need to understand. And all the life pains and wounds and experiences that you had was all with the purpose so that you can let go of all this resentment. So that you could forgive, meaning let go, and get fully on your mission, like pedal that energy, like, or gather your energy fully, so that you can use that creative force for the next 4-year cycle, which is going to be the outer transformation, which also could be applied to you on an individual level. Whatever that you're creating that's aligned with your highest self, or aligned with your soul mission or soul purpose, it's going to bring in a lot of the physical manifestations as a result of you planting that purified seed or that intention. So, okay, I'm just going to ask Source, Gaia, and my spirit team one more time, my higher self, as if there are any messages. Okay, so they're saying it's all for now. It's all in divine timing. So I trust my intuition and the divine timing. So I hope this helps for whoever that's going to resonate and need this message at this time. And then whatever that you're going through now, if you're suffering with like sense of isolation and grief and loneliness, sadness, allow yourself to feel those emotions fully. But have the trust at the same time and faith that everything's going to be all right. And you're meant to disconnect from those certain groups of people or situations or locations. It's a process of detachment for you to go in for reclaiming your inner sovereignty, because the inner sovereignty represents decentralized powers, meaning individuals need to rise up as the power within first. So that's just the process. So even though you hear this, you will still feel those sad emotions or those resentments that you may not realize that you had. But this is going to come as a memory at a certain divine timing if you're ready to really embrace, and then it's going to help you just cut all those energies off, is what I'm going to share as the last message. Okay, so I don't want to say hang in there, because that's more like the energy of survival when I tap into that phrase, but more like continue to be faithful to your emotions, your truth, whatever that is, without dividing goodness and badness. Just continue to have an overview from a neutral perspective or neutrality, that you are also working with shadow and also your light to integrate these two and finalize the chapter. And tomorrow is going to be the full moon in Gemini, another very big supermoon energies where we're going to end this huge chapter of this karmic cycles. So take however resonates, whenever, however, wherever. And I thank you for your ongoing support, for those of you who are connecting with me on a genuine level, appreciating, reciprocating what I'm sharing. And I'm also sending you lots of love my way to yours. And I'll see you in my other videos. Bye.